Okay, there it goes. The live was doing something weird. Hey guys, so quick live, well, kind of quick. So today, I'm gonna be posting a video up from TD Jakes. Just had a video he did today around noon Central Time, and he interviewed, and this is regarding the COVID part, and then I'm gonna talk about food security. Oh, did I leave that? I did leave it. Y'all, I wanted to tell you the definition of food security. That's right, I can pretty much give it to you still. TD Jakes did a live today, and the live that he did, it was a conversation about the COVID vaccine. He had Dr. Fauci on there. He had two other doctors. Was it two other doctors or three other doctors? Dr. Fauci. I think there were three other doctors. I know Fauci, and there were two other doctors that really talked, so maybe about 3 or 4 people. Can't remember. And then he had his personal physician there in Texas sitting on the stage with him, and they were talking about the COVID vaccine. I'm going to tell you it was geared, in my opinion, more towards African American and Latinos, minorities. And I know why it was done. It was probably done because a lot of us are apprehensive about getting the vaccine. We have, the underlying health issues that permeate both of our communities. And y'all forgive me. I didn't do anything Sunday because my sinuses were on stealth. I mean, I'm draining backwards. Voice was almost out. I even went into work a little bit later. I had to get some stuff because everything was bad. And it's not a sinus infection. It's just I'm getting reacclimated to Arizona, and it had rained earlier in the week, and my drainage was just on stealth. I've been doing a nasal wash, which has helped, but I had to get some stuff to really dry out because my voice was in and out, just really growly because it's draining so bad. Not COVID, because I feel fine. Everything else is just irritating. But anyway, so he did this thing. I'm going to be posting it on this site, on the Christian channels, and on the non-Christian channel that I run, the Doll channel on on YouTube. I'll be putting it in the community page. So I'll be posting it there. And I just challenge you guys to watch it. It was a wealth of information. I've had 2 conversations regarding the vaccine. Shannon, are you getting it? When are you going to go get it? For me, I know that one of my bigger issues is I have an underlying blood clotting disorder. And my concern is, how is it going to impact that? Supposedly with the diabetes, it can have some issues, but not huge. I do also have high blood pressure, and I forgot what they said on that. But those 2 can be underlying factors I have to concern myself with. And then, like I said, the other issue that I have is the blood clotting disorder, which I'm going to have to sit down with my doctor and kind of see how we're going to work that out. Johnson & Johnson's COVID vaccine is coming out pretty soon, which I guess is supposed to be a one-shot deal, opposed to the one and then the booster from Pfizer. I wanted to go Pfizer more than Moderna if I do decide to do this, based on what's going on, because Pfizer to me was not so government tied. And I just kind of liked their whole setup. The whole thing. But I'm going to see with Johnson & Johnson because that's coming out, and I don't know what that's going to basically entail, but there's supposedly some good things about that one. I don't know yet. I've been waiting and been reading and doing research on things because I also have a parent that I do deal with who is elderly as well. And I know that he's kind of holding on it as well because in the African American community, we have a major distrust of the system based on some of our historical interactions with government and vaccines and testings and things like that. Hello, the Tuskegee experiment. You guys don't know what the Tuskegee experiment was? Please go to YouTube. Y'all can research it and find out why African Americans are like, yeah, we're so cool on y'all and vaccines because we don't trust y'all. I mean, that's just really it. But I thought this was a wealth of information. It was strange because I talked to a friend of mine who's Latino, and we both have underlying health issues. He had concerns about the vaccine as well, when to get it, so forth. And he's like the primary person for a lot of members in his family for a support system. So, he's worried about getting sick. He's worried about croaking. I mean, we all worry about that, right? However, our time is in God's hands, and that's ultimately what we have to come to. But also, we don't walk in foolishness, we walk in wisdom. So, in all you're getting, get an understanding. And this video, I think, will help with a lot of understanding. I thought that the questions that Jakes and his doctor asked of Fauci and the whole panel were excellent, necessary, needed questions that needed to be asked. And that were really answering questions that I had all along. And it made me somewhat more comfortable with looking at the different vaccine options when that time comes. And once my doctor says, yes, Shannon, I think this one is good. Now, I know my doctor's office, they all did the Pfizer vaccine internally. The nurse practitioner said she had, all the colleagues in the office did well. She's the only one that had side effects. She did the initial vaccine. We actually talked. I did a video conference with her, and we actually talked, and she had side effects. And she described the side effects that I knew that they talked about, which is one of the reasons they wanted to do a staggering rollout to the healthcare professionals, because you couldn't have healthcare professionals who were having, getting sick, and I'm going to say sick, or having, they were saying a response, but they were basically having a sickness due to the vaccine, because what it does is it triggers your immune system. And when your immune system is triggered, you may have aches, and what your body is doing is, it's like when you have, like right now I have a Band-Aid on right here, right? I had a little sore, I scratched myself or whatever, and all of a sudden it started itching. Well, I scratched it. Well, a lot of times that response of itching means it's healing. And I scratched it and reopened it again. So I had to put another Band-Aid on last night because of my blood thinner. I bleed real easy, so I had to put a Band-Aid on because I don't want to bleed all over my bed or have blood at every different plot because I scratched myself or scratched a wound. But anyway, so I'll be posting that video up here in a few and letting you see it, because I do think it's about, I don't know, it was about 50 minutes long, 50 minutes. I had it on the TV because I can stream YouTube through my Roku on the TV. So it's about 50 minutes long. Very good video. Very good, a lot of information, and hopefully if you have the patience, I think it will bless you and answer some questions that I think a lot of us have. Guys, try to watch fact and not fiction. I have associates on here, and some of the stuff they post, I'm just like, what are you watching? It's not even legitimate sources. They're getting stuff, and you're sitting there going, wow. You know, I know that question marks were put under past leadership about some of our news sources. But what I'm going to tell you is go out and get I wanted to be a doctor in college. I did. And so what you do is you go out and you look at a lot of data. And usually when you have a culmination of data that kind of meshes on the same level, that tells you you're looking at the truth of a situation. But if you got this little entity, this fringe entity over here, and a fringe entity over here, and everything else is culminating around a same principle, normally that principle is the truth. And everything else is some kind of fringe, weird element. We have to be careful with stuff like that. And we have to weigh in the balance and be prayerful. Everything you see, you can't just buy. And that's why I research and I read, and I then start looking for legitimate sources. And I also I'll question legitimate sources. I wasn't just looking at our news here in the U.S. when COVID first came out. I started going back to the originator. Let me go see what's going on in China. let's go see what's going on in Africa. Let's go see what's going on in the Middle East. Let's go see what's going on in Jerusalem. And that I started wearing masks before we start saying wear masks. The reason is because I'm looking at the Chinese folks where this came out of, and I'm like, these babies is wearing masks. And when they usually have something going on, they put on masks. I'm going to go ahead and follow them babies over there, because they were the start of the problem. So we need to, I'm like, let me follow the folks who trying to survive from the madness. And so I started wearing the mask then. Y'all don't even know I sound like Growly yesterday. It was bad. I started wearing the mask then. So I started wearing masks before they were mandated, because I started looking. So again, nothing wrong with reaching beyond what we know, but there is something with getting sources that are as legitimate as possible and walking in some wisdom. listening to fringe and craziness, and I'm just sitting up there going, ooh wee. as an associate of mine say, ooh wee. And I think that sums it up. But I'm going to put that up and I'll post it here on the Christian channel. I'll post it on the community page of the Doll YouTube channel. And for my YouTube channel, thank you. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers. So thank you. And I'm going to say that here as well as on any of the channels. Please feel free to give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Share it out. Go ahead and share the video out for those in the Christian group. For those in the invite group, feel free to send invitations to people if you feel it's going to bless them. And I pretty much just review, and as long as ain't somebody really doing anything crazy, I accept it. For the Trucker Doll and the 411 channel on Facebook, we're having growth. I don't know if I may put this on there. I may put some of this on here too. I may. We're having growth on those channels. We actually go on the Former Doll channel, so people who watch those channels will. So we're having growth on both Facebook pages. So I want to thank you guys for that, and prayerfully, any of the past trucking videos will bless you. Now it's going to be mainly about my life and about where I'm at in my faith walk, just day-to-day life, food securities, gardening things, just sustainability, because I'm not on the road anymore. But thank you for following, and hopefully, like I said, the past videos will bless you. I'm going to get into food security a little bit, and I had the definition, and I was going to read it verbatim, but I'm going to have to go off of what I remember on my mind. So what food security is? Food security, hold on, y'all. iPad. Let's see, it should be still on. Hold on. I'll read it verbatim. I'll just have to look it up. Google. And we're going to go food security definition. So food security, the definition, the state of having reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. And it would say food security has declined dramatically, as an example, in many developing countries. So that's an example. So the state of having reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable and nutritious food. So insecurity would be the state of not having reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable and nutritious food. And I want that nutritious in there, okay? So let's talk. For those, this is going on all the channels, all the platforms. So some of the people on the Doll channel, the one that's almost 2,000 subscribers, once we hit the 2,000 subscribers, y'all, I'm also going to have a giveaway. I meant to say that. And I'm probably going to give away the barbecue sauce because I actually have all the bottles right now. And once we hit that 2,000 mark, I did a giveaway, I think at 1,000. And I'll do a giveaway at 2,000 once we hit that. And I will give away a free bottle of the barbecue sauce. So we'll talk about that later on that other channel. I'll be doing a live on that later. We'll probably talk about it as I'm showing you the sauce as I'm making it. But anyway, food security. I began having dreams back in July of 2020 regarding things with food, some issue that was coming with food. Now, for those of you who believe what you want to believe, I believe God gives us unctionings. He gives us dreams. He gives us visions. He gives us things that happen in our life that warn us and prepare us for something. And I don't know why, but that was very prominent. And it was like I had to have a mandate to get a food supply in my house. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have always been someone who's always had a quantity of food, at least a minimum of 30 to 60 days worth of food. Canned goods, frozen food, something. I always have food in my refrigerator. You come to our house, whether my grandmother, whether even how I grew up, we always could feed people. That was just, we could feed ourselves and people. It might not have been a gourmet meal, but it was going to be good and it was going to be nutritious and it was going to feed you. As my friend said, my mom was different, but she said the doggone woman could cook. And I come from a family of cooks. So we have a gifting. My brothers can cook on my mother's side. I cook, my aunt cooks. My cousins can cook. Everybody that's on my mother's side, we just have a gifting in the area of cooking food. With that being said, my aunt, she cooks. And my aunt and one of my brothers they have a baking skill. My other brother, the same brother, I know he's gotten into pellet barbecues, pellet smokers, which I wouldn't mind having one of those. They're okay too. I did smoking where I did wood smoke from my last time, but I got to get a new grill because I'm probably going to get a couple different grills actually. because I actually smoked meats and things like that. But we now have gotten into a society where a lot of people are in food insecurity. What that means, and I'm going to use my dad as an example. I think I talked about this one other time. When I went down and I visited him, or stayed with him the first time and actually visited, I went in his house and I went to go into the refrigerator. I'm like, because I was going to cook something. I was like, what the heck? There was no food. He had bottles of water. He had smoker. He had packets of cigarettes. And he had some containers from fast food and some food that some of the ladies from the church had cooked. Because the church cooks meals, I think, once a month. At his local church, they have like a dinner they do all together. And they cooked a plate for him and either brought it or he took something home. Because he was an associate minister there at the church. And that was it. And he has one other ex-girlfriend that cooks food for him from time to time. And not that he can't cook, I don't want to. It's just craziness. But I realized that there are a lot of Americans who are just like him, because I had another associate of mine who he always, from time to time, he would go buy one of those rotisserie chickens. Now, he was not a cook other than maybe some spaghetti or something that would just be heating up a jar. But he didn't keep much food in his house either. He had like a chicken, maybe some bread, water, milk, orange juice. And no food in his house. He hardly had any food in his house. Now, what we hit with the pandemic should have been a wake-up call to a lot of Americans. For me, I grew up under grandparents and even under my biological mother, who we always had, I didn't do my spray either. I haven't dried it out. I let it kind of drain to get it out because I got really dry because I used a lot of meds the other day to dry everything out. But we always had food in the house. So we had canned goods. We had frozen foods. Always. My grandparents, both grandparents. And my grandparents, on top of that, had a garden. They always had food growing out in the back. My grandmother more so. My grandfather usually did his right before the summer months. And I remember he grew squash, he grew okra, he grew greens. Those were the main things he grew. I know my grandmother, I think she did okra and greens. I don't remember if she did squash. I thought she maybe had some other things she did. I don't know if she did onions too. But I know that she had a patch out there and she could go out in her garden and always have something. She could cook a pot of greens. She could cook okra. She always had some kind of fresh vegetable growing. And then she had frozen foods. And I know she had canned goods. The other thing that they did, because the whole toilet paper thing was just really beyond scope for me, is she always, and my grandfather was the same way, they always had toilet paper. I just don't comprehend not having toilet paper. And so when we went to the grocery store, when my buddy Joe came and got me when the whole thing happened, and we went to the grocery store, we saw that the beans and rice were going, the dry staples at Sprouts and at the major grocery stores. We actually went to an international market and were able to get rice. So we went to an Asian store and they had rice. So Joe and I got rice there. Then we went to the Mexican grocery store, because that's not something that most of your mainline, I hate to say, Anglo white folks would know about. We went to some of the Mexican grocery store here in Arizona, and they had beans, and they had bulk beans still left, and they had bulk rice still left. Not a lot, but they had some, and we were able, and there was like a group of us, we all scooping into bags. So we were able to up that. Now, I had some rice here. I had some beans here. I just didn't have a lot. I will tell you now, I have about 50 pounds of rice, and I got about 25 pounds of beans. Well, I may even have more than that. And I have lentils. I know I have bulk 25 pounds of beans. I have 50 pounds of rice. And then I have some bags of beans, lentils. And then I got pasta, too. I've been open. So I had dreams about food insecurity, something that I sensed was going to happen. I don't know financially. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but there was something in my spirit about getting your food supply up. When I did it, I did mine based on 2 people. Now, there's only one person here, but also how God's been dealing with me is we got to watch our self-centeredness, and that you need to be able to, even in a struggle time, be a blessing to someone else. So I had to keep in mind that I had certain family members who I know won't do the right thing, because that's just who they are. They always are belligerent. And they won't do the right thing. So if they got into an emergency and they had to come home to Arizona, for whatever reason, they live in another state, A, I would be able to put them up. B, and they might have to sleep in the living room on the couch, but B, there would be food here enough for 2 people. Or B, if somebody needed something, I had enough to where I could give a little of something, and it wasn't just being self-centered and about myself. So when I go through this with you, if this is something you decide to implement, and I'm going to tell you my method, you decide to implement it, which I do recommend. I recommend always do it for above what you have. So if you're a family of 4, do it for 5 people. Be a blessing for at least one other person. I will tell you, I'm probably at a good 6 months worth of food storage right now, and my goal is to get it up to probably a year. Once I fill these shelves, I will probably be very comfortable, and I'll have a year supply of food. I can tell you on my dry stuff, my beans and my rice, I've got a year worth of supplies for beans and rice. For my dry goods, I'm good for a year. My sister sent me a calculator, of a food calculator. If I can find the link, I'll try to, y'all training. I'll try to link that in the video below, in this video. And for the YouTube video, when it goes up, unfortunately, sometimes they'll take that thing for a whole day because YouTube has been scanning videos for bad content. With all the stuff going up right now, with people saying stuff, they are now doing some heavy duty monitoring of what's being said. So they're doing that, and since they are doing that, it may take a day for this video to actually appear in the YouTube feed. But once you are able to see this video, I'll put the link in below on, if I can find, I gotta find it, on the food calculator. I'll put that in the description. And for this YouTube, for the Facebook group right now, I'll come back and do that here in an hour or so. I'll put it in the link, or I'll put it up again on the page. So what I did is I actually started doing canned goods, and I started my canned good journey with Walmart because they were the cheapest to go with. Most of your mainline stores, Kroger, Fry's here in Arizona, Safeway, which would be like your Albertsons and other, I forgot, Tom Thumb and some other ones are part of that family of Safeway. They actually, the canned goods are maybe more expensive, but you go the generic route, and I started mine with Walmart doing generics. Walmart generics could range from anywhere from 50 plus cents up. So every time I normally was budgeting $100 for groceries, I would take normally $30 for what I needed for my fresh stuff, and then the remaining would go to canned goods. And I got my supply up of canned goods. I also was going through my dry goods. I did through Costco to get bulk rice. The bulk rice, I think my bulk rice was like $12. I would not get any rice from China. They got too much going on. My beans and my rice both were U.S. based, so they came out of U.S. Canned goods, most of my canned goods are all U.S. based, and or like for your canned tuna, I think that was Indonesia. I did the Walmart canned tuna from Indonesia. But I checked where my stuff was coming from. I was concerned about some things that China had going on. Not knocking the Chinese folk, love Chinese food, y'all, but y'all had too much going on. You had the swine flu over there going on. We had the COVID stuff going on. And so for me, I actually started looking at food that was coming from the U.S. or certain countries that I was cool with. So my bulk supplies I started was canned goods. And I'm going to take you through what I've done. I'm going to give you the method to the madness that I went through. But I initially budgeted $100. I do know I have even people who are truckers that watch me. And one of the young ladies, she actually started her food storage because she lives off her truck at this time and trying to decide on where I guess she's buying stuff or where she's settling at and just saving money. She started storing her canned goods and her bulk beans in a storage unit, which is smart because she would have a way to have food if necessary. In case of crisis. And this is something that I believe in doing. Now, if you're at home, I'm not a person, I consider myself more in the urban prepping kind of thing. So you got people who are really hardcore preppers, not me, not with the guns, all down in the basement and the bunker and all that other stuff. Because to me, if it goes to that, then it's just a done deal. We don't have, it's going to be what it's going to be. But when you do stuff like this, it can help you in the times of natural disaster. And with us right now having the issues with climate change is what they're calling it. We called it global warming when I was growing up in my time, and then they just ignored it. And now we got all the stuff going on because of the climate and what we've done to the planet and the shift in the planet and nature trying to resolve itself, God's judgment, and our mistreatment of the planet. We're seeing severe storms and flooding and things like that. So being able to maybe have food security in your house, or if the power's out, and how you can cook food, emergency items that you may need for whatever. A lot of things can happen, and it might not be your house being destroyed. It could just be power outage due to some sort of storm. It could be minor flooding, but you still have goods that you can get to once you get the flooding cleared out and you have some food. Now, some of the fires that happened, for example, along the West Coast, those people, unfortunately, they lost a lot of stuff in there. There are people who talk about what they call bug out bags. Bug out bags are where you have emergency bags where you can take that with you, get in your car and go for whatever, natural emergency, whatever. And you can leave your house and have medical supplies, maybe some food in there, something to get you through for a week or 2 weeks until you can get settled. But one of the big ones is if you're able to stay in your home. I have my best friend is in Florida. Her and her husband are both veterans. They actually, for her, they've been through hurricane season. Florida has prominent hurricane season where they had power out for weeks at a time. No generator, I think, the first time they moved down there. And she'll talk about throwing out all the food that was in the freezer. So canned goods, things like that, you can eat directly from a can. They had a barbecue grill. They were able to use that to heat up food. They were able to eat canned goods, things like that. So there's ways you want to do your food security in order to be prepped for what can happen. And that's what food security is. It's just really being ready. We've got lines of people all across this country right now who did not expect to lose their businesses, who did not expect to lose their jobs, who may have had to take pay cuts. I have a friend of mine working for a company here in Arizona, and they put them to part-time right when the pandemic hit. She's back to regular full-time, but the good thing is her house is paid off. And I had called her and I said, girl, I've been having this dream and I'm just going to share this with you. And this is what the Lord is showing me to do. She started doing that. And she said, girl, I'm so happy you told me to do that because this happened. And so she did not have to concern herself with not having food or looking at that as something that was implementing where she's not now getting a full paycheck. She's only getting 50% of her pay. And she could still survive because she had used her budget when it was a regular budget to budget in for prepping herself for in case of emergency, in case of natural disaster, in case of a job loss, in case your money changes, in case you get sick. What about people who've gotten COVID and have recouped? What about people, unfortunately, who've lost maybe a spouse and that income is gone? And now you're trying to make it, and you're trying to make it on where you were living on 2 incomes, you're only living on 1. And you have these bills and expenses still coming in. So food security is that. It's securing and having food. And again, nutritious food. I know I'm fat, but I'm going to tell you what, I got nutritious food. I've watched people, and some things I've been led to on people who are calling themselves urban prepping, and I've seen them with just massive junk food. And I'm like, y'all gonna starve. So while you do buy what you eat, if you ain't eating nothing but junk and that's all you buy is junk, then you're gonna starve. There are certain staples that are staples we should have as human beings. Beans and rice are a core staple of any pantry. Then vegetables of some sort, core staple. Canned beans, canned tomatoes, canned corn. Those are core staples, and those are nutritious staples that will sustain you, okay? So like I said, I'm going to take you over here in a minute and show you what I'm doing and showing you the thought process behind it so you can see. Also, now that my rotating pantry, what a rotating pantry is, a rotating urban pantry is it means that I am actually using these canned goods. I don't just let them sit there with dust collecting. I actually use them and I rotate them. So as you get new stuff in, or if you use something, then replace it. For example, you'll see a hole in part of my Chef Boyardee. I was working the other night. I didn't feel like cooking anything. I opened up a Chef Boyardee, heated it up, and that was lunch. Well, I now need to replace it. And when I normally replace it plus get one. And that builds your supply plus it replaces what you use. So we're going to go through that in a minute too. Also, toilet paper, paper towel. We saw what happened. Now, paper towel, I'm not as a big, I still get paper towel, not as big of a deal, but TP, we knew what happened. I wasn't like everybody else. I grew up with my grandmother who had a closet from the floor to the ceiling of her closet full of toilet paper. She didn't run out. And that might be because she came from the Depression, where what we saw here during the pandemic is probably some of what they went through in the Depression, where certain things weren't available because people probably, went in there and got it all. It wasn't available. So, and these were things that became hard to come by. I'm doing the same thing. I can tell you right now, I've got 6 months worth of toilet paper on hand. And my goal is to have it up to a year. After that, just replace what I got and keep that supply in hand. Because it didn't make any sense what we went through. Now, I will tell you, prior to the pandemic, I normally had about 60 days worth of toilet paper on hand. Because every time I went to the grocery store, I bought toilet paper. Now, I buy bulk toilet paper now, so through Costco, because I like Costco's toilet paper, but I always buy bulk toilet paper now. I don't even get my toilet paper from, I used to do Family Dollar and buy some of those whenever they were on sale. All my toilet paper is now Costco, and I buy the big bulk family size toilet paper. I just do. It doesn't make any sense anymore because what we went through should taught us some wisdom. And what we're seeing with some of our fellow Americans who are sitting in food lines, in Mercedes, in very well-known name brand cars, and we know that they made most likely a decent income, and they're sitting in food lines because there was no food in their house to feed their family. Oftentimes because, like my father, they were going out to fast food restaurants because we stopped cooking for ourselves. We started doing it. Everything was instant, quick, and we're in this microwave society. We can't live like that anymore because, as they said, things are going to get worse before they get better. Also, again, we don't know what's going to happen natural-wise. We have seen, to me, heed the warning and get prepared for whatever. I'm adding also now supplements, vitamin supplements, self-care, and self-care means like your toiletries, your shampoos, your hand sanitizer, your body wash, your underarm deodorant, the things to wash your behind. I'm just gonna keep it real. Those things are things that I now have on hand. Amazon just had a special on Lucerne. What is the name of it? I think it's Lucerne. I forgot the name of it. Lubriderm lotion. And Lubriderm lotion, they had a 32 ounces, 6 bottles? 6 bottles? I think it's 6 bottles. 6 bottles for $10, which that lotion, 32 ounce bottles, is normally $8 and $7 and almost $8 at Walmart for a 24 ounce. And I got the 32 ounce for $1.67 a bottle. Matter of fact, I'm going to buy another set because that will be a year's worth for me. It'll be 12 bottles. And those bottles will last easily, and it's a good, thick quality lotion. It'll last me for a good year. Self-care items, bulk up on. I was very fortunate when the pandemic hit that I had bleach, I had disinfectant spray, I had hand sanitizer that lasted me up until I think maybe I had to make one batch of hand sanitizer, and I bought, what's that stuff called? It's a liquor. Everclear. And I made hand sanitizer from Everclear. In order to have here during the parts of the pandemic when you couldn't find rubbing alcohol on the shelf, I was able to get, I had on hand peroxide, and the peroxide also can be used as a disinfectant. It kills the virus. So I actually put that in a spray bottle, and anytime I receive packages, I receive deliveries, I sprayed that down with the peroxide because you couldn't get rubbing alcohol. It was hard to get Lysol spray, which is known to kill the virus. Those were things you just really couldn't get. And bleach was number one. Right now I've got a year's worth of bleach over here. I got 121 ounce bottles of bleach. I've got the regular bleach, and I got the germicidal that they use for hotels and restaurants. And my buddy Joe went and got me the one for the hotels and restaurants. disinfectant, and then I have other disinfectants that I just happen to have from the truck because I had that in storage. And when I cleaned out my big storage unit, which I just recently got out, which y'all will see the black bags I still got to work on, I had even more cleaning supplies in there. I just really was shocked. I was like, oh, I still got this. I even had hand sanitizer in there. Granted, it's more watery, but you could still use it. It's still alcohol based. Alcohol doesn't really do anything, but or go bad. Alcohol is always alcohol. Rubbing alcohol. So I'm going to take you through this. And what I recommend is you guys make a plan. My plan, like I said, I started with the generics of Walmart, and I started doing generic soups, generic vegetables, and I'm going to take you through what it looks like. I also recommend good shelving. If you're going to do this and you don't have a really good, my kitchen here in this apartment is extremely small. I don't have a lot of good cabinet space. So if you don't have good cabinet space, what I am going to recommend is make sure you get some good solid shelves. I have a shelf that I got from Walmart that was supposed to be an industrial shelf, and it was like, I think it was like 36 or 40 bucks. It was under 40 bucks. And I bought it, and it's a piece of crap. The shelf is, you can see it. I mean, it's holding, but you can see it bowing, holding cans. You can just see it. And the other ones I got 3 other ones. One that I found in storage that I didn't even know I had. It was brand new in the box. And then 2 other ones I got from Walmart that were the black industrial shelves. Look for the shelves. Look for the descriptions that tell you that holds 350 or 500 pounds per shelf. If it's something that just gives you generic information and calls itself a metal industrial shelf, I would be very cautious of that. Because you do need something that's going to hold, because cans, if you're going to store them, do get heavy. Jars get heavy. And we'll go through. So let me take y'all through this. And then, like I said, I ain't going to be on here long, and I will post that T.D. Jakes interview as a conversation. It's not a religious kind of thing. It is really just dealing with the COVID vaccine, and I thought it was a wealth of information. I was very happy to watch it today. It answered a lot of questions, and I guess he just did it today around 12 noon live, and he had some really good people that, some of them, I think one of them worked for Pfizer, and she really explains that don't think that they just came up with this vaccine out the blue. They were working on SARS vaccines prior to this. So they were already ahead of the game. And then when this, they call it, I think COVID-19, when it came out, then yes, it made them ramp up, but they already had a lot of research based on just dealing with SARS in general. A lot of us think COVID-19, okay, this is the first. No, we've had COVID vaccines prior, just not the beast that this one is. And we had issues with it. When it was SARS, we had issues with it. But not as deadly and weird as this one is. So anyway, let me kind of see if I can turn y'all around. So I'm going to turn y'all around here. I'm in the room, y'all. So I had to move. Let me turn y'all around. Okay. I had to move, and I got y'all. I now got a tripod with the holder for it. I had to move everything. So y'all see my bags. I'm still working on bags from moving. So let's take y'all down low first. So I've stocked up on vinegars, both apple cider vinegar and distilled vinegar. I got pickles in the back in a jar, honey. That's olive oil. I've got, I think that's a canola oil. The bay leaves are good for storing for them. You can cook with them too. But when you store beans and rice, and I'm going to show you these. I have 2 of these bins. You can't see the other. The bottom one is full of beans. The other one next to it is full of rice. And the top part holds some packets of stuff, beans or something like that, or lentils. And there's layered with bay leaves. Here, where y'all are seeing, let me see. That is applesauce. These are some cranberry things I had that I got through, I think it was when my old church sends out boxes for the holidays to different people. So they gave me a box for Thanksgiving, and they had cranberry, and I also picked up some on sale. Chef Boyardee, that is a good semi-filling. It has a little meat in it. Ravioli is a good instant. You can eat it right out of the jar, or out of the can cold if you didn't have way of cooking. Most canned goods are that way. Mushrooms can be used for different recipes. I got the big cans, I got the little cans, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up filling out the big cans to here, and the little cans I'm going to stack on top. So I'm going to start finish that out. And when I say fill in the gaps, where you can see these holes or the cardboard, and I put the cardboard on here because this industrial shelf is, well, it's kind of like a grid. And then carrots, peas, mixed vegetables, and I have rows of what I want once it comes out to the top. Jackfruit can be used, it's a vegan thing, but it can be used as a meat substitute. So you can make vegan sloppy joes, tacos, what else? Stews. There's a lot you can do with it. Potatoes in a can. Potatoes, if you have a good area, you can keep fresh potatoes for so long, but potatoes are a good starch, a good filler, and so they have them in a can. So I got 2 rows of those because you can, again, use that for recipes. This is a soul food thing that I attempted to try. I'm a big fan of okra, corn, tomatoes. That's triple succotash. And then I think I got a Hoppin' John, which is a black-eyed peas, peppers, and onion. I haven't eaten that one, but I do like black-eyed peas. So I ordered it. Garbanzo beans, hominy. Hominy is a type of corn. Mainly used a lot of times in Mexican dishes, but it's pretty good. And then I have what I call my fruit section. So I have sliced peaches. I have fruit cocktail and pineapple chunks. On top, there's some open toilet paper, and I haven't filled in that gap yet. Hold on, y'all. Let's go. We're going to the hallway. So in the hallway, below, and y'all, I'm sorry, this is going to be a little funky, but below, I have it's making me rotate back. Below, hold on, I don't want to crank y'all too low, but hold on, y'all, I'm going to take y'all off the stand. Hold on. Okay, take y'all off the stand. So below, I got Prego. I got 3 rows of jars. On top are the cans. I got 2 gaps of hunts I need to fill in. I have crushed tomatoes here and here. I've got green beans. I'm good. I've got some tomato paste in there. And here's the soup section. So my soup section in the back would be some of my generics. And then I went into the name brands. So I got Progresso and Chunky. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I got 3 rows of Progresso. I got 2 rows of the Campbell's, 1 Chunky and 1 is, the one on box on top was, I forgot what it is. It's Campbell's too, but it was from Costco. Corn. I got 2 rows of regular corn. 1 row of cream style corn. This back here is baked beans. I need to get that filled in. I'm a huge ranch style bean person. So I have 1 row of ranch style beans. I'll probably do 1 more set, 3 cans, and we'll have the gaps filled in. Chili. And then you have your different beans. Black beans, chili beans, kidney beans. So that's it. So let me turn this around here, y'all. Y'all see still working on the progress of unpacking that madness. Hold on. And for those of y'all who are saying, she's still wearing a Swift shirt. This shirt, when I was driving for Swift back in the day, we had a company store. So you could get them in blue and black. And I got several black ones and several blue ones. And it's really quick and easy as a driver when you're getting up or you want to sleep in something. So I have several. So don't think this is necessarily the same. Y'all like, she's wearing that shirt for 5 days. No, it's probably one of many because I got a couple of blue ones. I even got polo shirts from Swift back in the day when I drove for them. So, but what I want to tell you is what you see. Oh, and I had some refried beans on top. I didn't show you that. Get foods that are nutritious, cans. And I have a lot. This is about 6 months if there were 2 people in this house. So I can be a blessing to somebody else. My goal is to fill in the gaps and to get this to where I have a supply of 12 months worth of food. I do use it. So you're going to see gaps. I use a chili. I've made a chili dip. I've taken the chili, mixed it up, and put it in tacos and make tacos with the chili. I've used a soup. I have some soup in boxes, butternut squash soup. I've taken the Progresso's kind of dented because I've been eating a lot of Progresso soup lately. It's just quick and easy. I actually had even more crushed tomatoes. I had gotten those on sale. One, Walmart has them, I think they're 88 cents a can for the crushed tomatoes, and it's a way to expand your pasta sauce. So when I mix with Prego, I can make a bigger batch of pasta. The Hunt's also, I like Hunt's. Hunt's is very cheap. And you just go in and you hook it up and throw a can of crushed tomatoes in there. And you got a big pot of pasta. And I usually do that when I do a vegetarian pasta. I don't know if I've done a meat pasta in a while. I usually use whatever fresh vegetables I have in the refrigerator and cut those up, chop them, saute them, season them. And then I throw the pasta sauce on there and a can of crushed tomatoes and then some wine in it. So there's a lot you can do. Corn can be done for a lot of things with meals. Nutritious, belly-filling staples, not a bunch of junk food, okay? Not a bunch of sweet, sugary stuff. If y'all notice the most stuff I had in here for sweet stuff, and I didn't show you the kitchen. In the kitchen, I have oatmeal, I have instant, I have regular, I have mashed potatoes, the flakes, I have dry cereal, I have Jello, I have macaroni and cheese boxes, I have regular pasta boxes. What else do I have? I have something else. There's something else I have. My mind is not good right now on it. I have something else. I can't remember. And those things are things you want to be able to have as staples if needed. But also make it usable, something you can rotate through. There are preppers that prep and just store this and then they buy separate groceries. No, I buy a certain amount of canned goods every payday. This payday, when I go through, they're going to have, I know right now, Chunky Soup is on sale at Kroger, which is fries here in Arizona, 99 cents a can. Those cans can be up to $2 a can for Chunky. And the Progresso Soup also is 99 cents a can at Walmart. It's like $1.36, $1.40 a can. So and I think that's at Safeway. So I'm going to go there and pick up that. You can go and get items and fill in the gaps. The Asian store has the larger cans of jackfruit, but you can order them on Amazon. It's a little more pricey. Or you have to go to places like Sprouts or Whole Foods in order to get your cans of jackfruit. And it is priced like $3 a can, whereas I can go to the Asian market and get it for $2. But with our numbers being so high, I think I'm just going to pay and have it delivered. If I don't see it in my regular grocery store, and I don't normally like going to the regular grocery store. I usually have delivery. I just did a Kroger delivery, a Costco delivery today, because it's usually contactless. Well, as contactless as possible. I still disinfect the product once it comes to the house, and then I bring it in. And I do another spray once it's in here, and then once I go and separate everything out. But I don't have to be in the petri dish of a bunch of people. Now, I have dental work tomorrow. And depending on how I'm feeling after the dental work, my goal is to stop at Kroger and get the 99 cents cans. I would have them delivered, but Kroger, Safeway, Sprouts, all of them raise their prices on home delivery. So you don't get the sale price normally for their items that they have in the sale ad as if you walk into the store, which I think it's atrocious, but people are doing what they do to make money. The only company that I know who doesn't raise their prices from what's in the store when they deliver is Walmart. So if you do Walmart delivery, you have to pay whatever the delivery fee is, but you get the price of what the product is in the store. So that I commend Walmart on, but Walmart makes so much money. I was like, they would be majorly greedy if they didn't do that. The regular grocery chains, they don't do that. They're marking up the prices. Even Costco marks up its prices. Example, toilet paper at Costco is $16.99. Delivery to my house has been up to $20.99 for the toilet paper. Just depends on which Costco. My Costco closed down, so now it's $18.99. I think they went down by $2, but it's still $2 more than what it is in the store. I bought deli meat through Costco today. Normally it's $13 or $14. It was $15.99. So they put a $2 markup on anything they're delivering to the house. And they're not necessarily doing it. I'm doing it through a service called Instacart. Now, you do have direct deliveries you can do through Kroger, which is fries here in Arizona, through Safeway and through Sprouts. But I'm already an Instacart member, so I go through them, but they still mark up through the delivery. And some of it's worth it. For me, not having to go stand in Costco and go through that madness, it's worth it. And when my toilet paper started diminishing, that's how I got toilet paper here to the house. When everybody was standing in lines for hours on end to get toilet paper and water, mine was delivered to the front door. I paid a little bit extra for it. I paid for the service, but I got it delivered to the front door. Okay? So, and I was able to bless other people I know and tell them, hey, you need toilet paper? Yes, Shannon, I need toilet paper. Here's how you get it. So, this is just some helpful hints. I'll probably talk about more. We'll also do it on, I'll get in here and show you how I'm doing it even on toiletries. I don't really buy shower gels anymore. I do have some shower gel that was in my storage unit, but for the most part, unless it's something really cheap or free, I don't buy shower gels. I buy bar soap. I'm a fan of bar soap. There's other pantry things you need to get. I have containers underneath this little ladder shelf over there. At the bottom, I have, I think it's 6 or 7 water jugs. They're collapsible. I have not filled them. But if I sense anything, those are ready to be filled with water from the tub. Put a little bleach in them, and you can store them in a corner on probably on a pallet of, either on, it has to be carpeted. You don't want it on tile or concrete because it can leach. But on maybe I'll have some cardboard, and I can just put it on the cardboard and stack them up. And I've got 5 to 7 gallon jugs. I can't remember what they are. And I think I have 1 5 and the rest are 7 gallon jugs. And I forgot how many I have. I think about 6 or 7 of them. I know I bought about under $50 worth because you get the shipping was free. And I have the spigot. And what that can be used for, well, it could be used for drinking water if you necessarily needed it. And you'd have to I would filter it and do a filtration system. I have a little cheap filtration system in the kitchen that filters out some of the impurities and taste. But what it can be used for, the way I looked at it, is brushing your teeth and washing your body and keeping your humanity in case of emergency. You look at situations where they didn't have maybe fresh water because of some of the hurricanes and storms that came through the Gulf. And their water, their power were impacted. People might have been able to be in their homes, but some of the services that we have gotten used to were impacted. They didn't have powers for weeks. Some of them had to get generators and things like that. For me, the other thing I haven't gotten yet, but it's going to be in this next round, this payday I get. I'm ordering I'm going to get a propane. It's going to be a butane propane combo where you can put the propane or butane canisters on it, and it's like a separate cooking stove. I'll be getting that. And the reason I'll be getting that is because you should always have an alternative to cook. I'm also going to get a grill for outside. We need to be thinking ahead. What we just went through should have taught us things. And like I said, my blessing is that I grew up with grandparents who were depressionary people. They went through the depression. And going through the depression teaches you some things. Food security is a real thing. And there's a lot of people who right now are sitting in lines because they did not expect what was happening. Like my father, they're sitting in there in their houses. They had absolutely no food. And you've got kids and family, and it makes absolutely no sense. You need to have a capability in case something happens. We have an economic crash. Money becomes something you can't have. Right now, we got people who don't have jobs. They can still stay in their house, but you cannot eat your home. And so now the question is, they're trying to survive. Some people are still waiting for unemployment money, and they're going to food banks just to get food. And there have been in some states where the food banks have not been able to meet the demands. I volunteered at food banks before. They cannot meet the demands of all the people in line because it has grown to what they've never expected before. We need to be in a wake up of what's going on in our country. A lot of us have been caught up in political divide instead of caring for people. And part of us, this is a Christian group, part of us as Christians is caring for people, caring for one another. And we need to really start caring for each other. And caring for each other in the sense of it's more than just about you. So this is going to go up on all of the channels. I hope it blesses you. I'll be putting up the video about the interview with, it's Fauci, 2 other doctors. I know Bishop Jacobs' doctor was on there. Like I said, it was very much, it wasn't Christian focused at all. It was just factual. Here's how we came up with this. This is what's going on. Here's the vaccine. This is why. It dealt with more of the minority community, but it answers a lot of questions, even if you're not a minority, about the vaccine. And it was funny because Joe and I had a conversation this morning. He said, Shannon, when are you getting it? And I was like, well, I'm still waiting because of this issue. I do have an underlying health issue that I have a concern with. How is that going to impact that issue? And there were areas where they talked about people who are HIV positive, people who have other autoimmune diseases. Think about people with lupus. And they talked about, I think, the diabetic. I know lupus would be one because that's an autoimmune disorder. HIV would be one. I know they mentioned something about people with diabetes. Oh, there was something else. There was something else they mentioned. But it's a very good video. I definitely challenge you to watch it. I've sat here and watched it. I'm probably going to watch it again because there was some really good information. I sent it to a friend of mine who's an RN. And I told her, I said, you need to watch this. And a lot of information because she is a woman who's been in the industry for a long time. And we've talked about things. So even with her, we've had some very deep conversations regarding this. So definitely watch it. And I think it'll be a blessing to you and give you a capability to make some very good decisions as to what you're going to do. Also, the fact that don't think just because you get the vaccine, the mask thing is going away. We're still going to be doing the mask for a while. We're going to be under that mask issue for a minute. Sorry, y'all, I need some water. We're going to be under the mask thing for a good minute. And they explain why the mask will be necessary even if you get vaccinated. Because you could still, while you may not, what the vaccine, from my understanding, is doing is it's keeping you from getting sick. It may not mean that you don't get the virus. You get it, but your body doesn't respond. It's going to respond more like an asymptomatic carrier, from what I understand, than it would somebody who gets sick. So it keeps you from getting, prayerfully, all the other illnesses. Also, there's a 95% success rate. That means that if you're in that 5 percentile that this vaccine does not help you with COVID, you could still get it and pass it to somebody else. So it's going to be saying, hey, if you wear the mask, it protects the other person, but it also helps protect you. So the bigger part is it helps protect the other person, but it also has a barrier that it may help you from getting the virus. So that's why even if they don't know if you're not going to be that part of that 5% group, that it just doesn't work for. We need to be very aware, okay? And we need to understand it. And this is not something that they came up with yesterday. It's something they've been working on prior to COVID-19. But there was a mad rush to say, you guys been working on this. Well, now we got to get this finished up. We need this vaccine. Come on with it. And so then you've got some decisions. And we're getting ready, possibly, I think Johnson & Johnson is getting ready to come out with theirs, which I think is a 1 dose opposed to doing 2 doses, which is the first dose and the booster. But yeah, so I'll be putting some stuff up, and I think Jennifer Cottle, she just did, or Jennifer Cottle? Jen Cottle? Jennifer, I can't remember. Cottle, Dr. Cottle. She just got her second booster shot, and she did get ill from it. She had the side effects that they said could happen, where it's like almost like a semi-flu-like symptoms, which shows that the actual vaccine is working. It's where you actually end up with the headache and achy, and it's like 36, like 3 days. And my nurse practitioner, she said that's exactly what she went through. The first shot. Some people get it, sometimes it happens on the first, sometimes it happens on the second shot. Some people don't have any issues. It doesn't happen at all to them. On top for my water bottle. Anyway, y'all, I hope this blesses you. And for the doll YouTube channel, once we hit that 2,000 subscriber mark, once I get the barbecue sauce up, which should be here in the next few weeks, a bottle will go out to somebody free. And I'll get that to you, or we'll do a drawing. Anyway, y'all, like, thumbs up, share it out. If you're part of the Christian group, please feel free to invite somebody. The open one, you don't have to, you can just tell them about the page and they can just be on it. But for the private group, that group, you have to do an invite. Once they're invited, you're welcome to share it out. Also, I know somebody wants to post something. I always have to approve post. So I haven't had a chance to sit down I think, Corey, you put something on here. I have to go and watch it and see if I think that it's something good for the channel. And it could be, just depends on what he's talking about. I got to see. And sometimes I may not post it initially because I want to see where their ministry is going. I try to be a little more protective of what comes on here for certain reasons, because there is stuff that might not be. You know, somebody might have something and you'd be like, well, I've posted some things that, good word on this, but there's nothing else about their ministry I would post. So I've had some of that. There's some people I've posted things that I feel are very pertinent and very good, and then there ain't nothing else about their ministry I'm posting on here because it's like, ooh-wee. But guys, I hope you're blessed. I hope you're being safe. Please follow the COVID guidelines. I believe in, and I know we believe that God, everybody, we all have a time on this planet. So any of us can go at any time. But I also believe we don't try God. We don't test God. We don't tempt God. In the sense of we don't play with God like that. And I believe he gave us doctors for a reason. He gave us scientists for a reason. And I don't see there's any problem with following that. Follow those guidelines and as best possible. I know some people that are major people of faith who are laying in caskets. People that I sense, at least I sense, were Christian folks. And they had their own view of, I guess, well, I'm just going to name it, claim it, and the next thing you know, they're in a casket. Granted, it might be their time, but I also think there's some wisdom that we need to walk in, and let's walk in it. Anyway, y'all, be blessed. I hope this helps you. Also, don't forget, look at that Jackie Hill Perry, her and her husband. I thought that was a very good conversation. That's for the Christian channel. But everybody else, 2 and 2, be blessed. God bless you.